The more we hear from Kate Forbes, the SNP leadership candidate, who's very different to the rest of them, the more we feel guilty that we kind of like her. If only she was not SNP, if only she was part of a more of a right-wing party, might have been actually quite good, because in this interview, she's now talking about her opposition against more tax rises. That's what a conservative is supposed to be doing, not an SNP member. She's already been under a lot of attack because she's Christian, because apparently that's a taboo these days. She's already been under attack because she supported and promoted family values. That's apparently bad. And she's going against the nonsensical wokeism of Humza Yousaf and all the others. So it's quite weird. Let's watch this interview together, because Laura Kuenssberg of the BBC interviewed her about potential future tax rises. It's weird to have an SNP member who's not a complete socialist.
Well, because I've outlined that plan, and the plan is to focus on investing in infrastructure, to look at the regulatory burden on businesses, and to ensure that we have a competitive regime when it comes to taxation.
And for people who want to prosper, what can you say to them about their tax bills in Scotland? So you have the power to increase income tax, and as things stand, it is higher in Scotland than in the rest of the UK. Do you back the income tax rises that were brought in while you were recently on maternity leave? Or would you rule out further income tax rises?
That's a very good question, actually. For once, Laura Kuenssberg focused on the priority. It is also important to say that before we get to Kate Forbes' answer, because she's going to be opposing tax rises, and she's still, despite all this, and also being pro-family values and social conservatism, she's still doing quite well in the opinion polls, and the SNP voters are saying that they prefer her over all the other candidates. It exposes the fact that over the last few years, the SNP establishment and Nicola Sturgeon created this persona that everybody in Scotland is so liberal and woke, which is not true, especially when it comes to the nationalists and those who want Scottish independence. Not everybody is woke and with pink hair and rainbow and everything else. This is the reality.
I'd certainly rule out further income tax rises, but the point I'd make about the recent hike is, of course, the higher tax is a symptom of the fact that our economy is growing so slowly and our tax base is not broad enough. We need to raise the money for our public services because people rely on that, but I'd far rather we focused on expanding the tax base and growing our economy.
I feel absolutely dirty and guilty that I actually agree with Kate Forbes. I never thought I would ever say that I would agree with something that an SNP politician actually said. Not to say that she's perfect. Of course, she still wants to go with the separation when it comes to Scotland and the United Kingdom. But she has more common sense than the rest of them. This is why they are trying their best, the establishment in Scotland, to prevent her from becoming party leader. They're trying their best to have Humza Yousaf becoming the second Nicola Sturgeon, and they think that's actually a smart thing to do. In reality, they don't know that what we talk about here is we actually prefer to have Humza Yousaf, because he will bring the inevitable fall of the SNP completely. I cannot see him being charismatic or even more, I don't know, I was going to say successful than Nicola Sturgeon. Yeah, because technically, to an extent, until recent times, Nicola Sturgeon got away with a lot of things. So she was objectively successful in terms of the electorally and in terms of not getting scrutinized by the media. I do not believe Humza Yousaf, who does gaffes every 10 minutes like Joe Biden, is going to get away with it. He will bring down the chaos that we're going to enjoy. But Kate Forbes will be better for Scotland. But again, maybe that's the problem. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.